All right, we're back for number 2 in section 8.3, conditional probability. So the probability of A given B. Here we go. Number 2 says, given that an odd number turns up after rolling one die, what is the probability it is a 3 and it is not a 3? So we know the sample space for a die is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Now we know that we're given that it's odd. So we know that it came up a 1, a 3, or a 5. So that we know, and our sample space has changed. So now it's asking what's the probability that it's a 3 given that it's odd. So we don't even have to look at that sample space anymore. We see that there's a 1 chance in 3. All right? And that's just counting. Now, if I use the formula, it's what's the probability that it's a 3 given that we know that it's odd. All right, I'm going to write it that way. And I'm going to use the formula. So this is what's the probability it's a 3 given that it's odd. I know that's my A given B. So it's the intersection divided by, so it's the probability of 3 intersect odd over the probability that it's odd. And this is from the original 6 outcomes, 1 through 6. So what's the probability it's 3 and odd? Well, the only 3 and odd is this one. Okay, not 3 or, but 3 and. So 1 out of 6. So this will be 1/6 over probability it's odd is 3 out of 6. Okay, and those cancel, and you get the 1/3 as discussed above. Okay, so that's a probability that, what was it? What is the probability it's a 3? Here's what's the probability it's not a 3. So this was part A, doing 2 different methods. And B, what's the probability that it's not going to be a 3? And it turns out that if we know that it's 1, 3, 5 up here, so I'm doing this just by counting, and not a 3 is going to be 2/3. Okay, so 2/3. And you can do the formula that the probability that it's not a 3 given that it's odd is the probability that it's not a 3 and odd over the probability of odd. So the probability of 3 and odd, so 3 and odd is going to be, oh, sorry, not 3. So not 3 is, I have to come back to this one on the formula. What's not a 3 and odd? That's not a 3 and odd. That's not a 3, but it's also not odd. So I'm looking at this one. That one's not a 3 and odd. That one's a 3 and odd. That's an even. That's a not a 3 and odd. Oh, it's so complicated. So we've got 2/3 are in this situation, and then the probability it's odd, we come up here, is 3 out of 6. And what do I get here? I'm supposed to get 2/3. Do I get 2/3 here? Oops, I think I forgot this denominator 6. Sorry about that. I wasn't counting the whole thing. So it was 2 out of 6, excuse me. So the 6's cancel, and we're left with 2/3. I also want you to note that if the probability of getting a 3 is equal to 1/3, then the probability of not getting a 3 is like a complement. Okay, and that's going to be, did I just write it 1/2? I'm at a third, is going to be 2/3. The probability of not getting a 3 and the probability of getting a 3, those add up to 1. All right, I'll be back for the next one.